Is the most exciting time of your life behind you?
It might be, but that's okay. If you look at the things that have made everything so exciting, one, that pace of life is sort of unsustainable. So that's one sort of running off of adrenaline every day. That's exciting. The actual experiences, you know, part of me thought I'd met the Queen, I'd met the Pope, I was at Nelson Mandela's funeral, I've been on Charlie Rose. What is there left?
That was part of my conversation in 2014 with Alyssa Mastromonaco, who was an aide to President Obama, more than an aide. At the time, she was preparing to leave the White House. During the 2008 presidential campaign, she was his director of scheduling and advance. Mastromonaco went on to serve in the White House as the youngest woman to be Deputy Chief of Staff of Operations. Her new book is called Who Thought This Was a Good Idea? And Other Questions You Should Have Answers to When You Work in the White House. Alyssa Mastromonaco joins us now. Welcome and good morning.
Hi, thanks,
Wait,
guys.
before you start, though, Charlie, you should know this. She writes about you, that interview in the book, and says, I mean, it was Charlie Rose. I hadn't done an interview in years. Charlie's an icon. I was worried about looking like a ditz in front of him. It was a great interview, and after the first 5 minutes, it was like talking to an old friend.
That's old friend.
Magic.
Let's recreate the magic.
Yes, there you
Well,
go.
you told me at the time it changed your life.
It did change my life. I had never been a person who was out there. I didn't think that my job was to be on camera. It was to be running things, and people, you know, there are people who should be out there and people who are running things, and I decided to just stay behind the scenes.
Yeah. Being behind the scenes, one of the things she would do is arranging scheduling. She would say, General, you will do this, then this, then this.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, you talk about being a woman in the old boys club and how at times it was intimidating, but other times you said, oh no, I'm going to show people how it's done here. Not in an arrogant way, but you were very confident.
I was. Well, I think that being, you know, I knew what I knew. And I think that that's one of my strengths. I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And so if we were talking about going on a foreign trip, and, you know, the National Security Council wanted to put in an extra couple of stops or go some, I was like, no, we're not going to do that. And when it came to, the president was so wonderful about also understanding people's strengths and weaknesses and knowing that if I said that, you know, Alyssa was probably right.
At one time he said to you, remember your words have power.
He did.
Yeah, which I thought was a very powerful moment in the book, Alyssa.
And I didn't think that had never actually occurred to me, to be honest. And I was just very upset about something that someone had said to a reporter. And I wrote a sort of unhinged email to the entire senior staff.
Those
emails go into permanent record.
It was like we should have each other's backs. And anyway, so I was very upset. I thought everyone would ignore it, but someone went to tell the president about it, and he felt the need to talk to me about my the strength of my words.
But speaking of being blunt, this is not your typical White House memoir. It is hashtag real talk. I mean,
it is real talk.
You talk about birth control, white wine after work. I mean, how hard was it to get to that layer of truth?
So I actually had a much harder time trying to, you know, when you go through a book and you have so many iterations of what you think the book's going to be. And when I was trying to be a little bit more lofty, it was like I struggled. I ended up on Zoloft trying to do it. And then when I actually, a good friend, Mindy Kaling, who's blurbed in the book, I said, Min, what do I do? And she's like, write one essay for every chapter and it will come. And so I wrote one essay per chapter, and I got a co-writer who understood me, Lauren, and she totally pulled the great stuff out of me, and we realized this was exactly the book we wanted to write.
Where does the title come from?
The title comes from Barack Obama himself, because if he was on the road and you got an email that said, who thought this was a good idea, which was not uncommon, you knew that he knew you thought it was a good idea, and he wanted you to just own your, you know, your decision, which I always did. It was my idea.
You said your goal is to get women more interested and excited about government in this book.
Well, I think that this book hopefully makes government a little bit more relatable, a little bit less scary, that really, if you have the passion and commitment, you can do it. You don't have to be, you know, Harvard educated with a dad who was a congressman to work in the White House.
Do you, just really quickly, when you look at this Trump White House, which has gone through its share of rocky roads, you've been on the inside.
I have.
Is this uncommon, or is this just par for the course?
This is pretty uncommon, I think. I think the first 100 days, you're always trying to sort of get your bearings, and it seems that anything that existed before them, they're just shooting down for sport, whether it's protocol or, you know, bills and laws.
How angry is the president, President Obama, about these allegations of wiretapping?
So I don't know how angry he is. I know the rest of us were pretty pissed.
And on
Like,
that,
Because why, Alyssa?
Because it's insane. Because it's an insane accusation, and it's an insane accusation for a president to accuse another president of, and also for anyone who knows Barack Obama. I just wouldn't do that.
well,
All right, Alyssa, thank you very
more
much.
real talk from Alyssa
Thank you.
Mastromonaco.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks and congratulations. Who thought this was a good idea is on sale tomorrow.